kind of going back to draft talk, we've been doing our daily prospect spotlight. We skipped yesterday, trying to run through the list of guys that the Coyotes could take at either 6 or 12. And today we're going to talk about Gabe Perreault, 5'11", right wing, 165. We had his head coach Dan Muse on our show to talk about him about the NTDP. He just set this all-time single-season point record in NTDP history, which is crazy. And there's also a Arizona-ish tie-in.
Yeah, it is. So his dad was Coyote All-Star, and it's really hard saying that. All-Star Yannick Perreault. They used to call him No Panic Yannick. And the only reason he went to the All-Star game that year, and no offense, Yannick, because I'm sure he's listening, is because he led the league in faceoff percentage. And the Coyotes, again, sucked. And you got to decide, you got to send somebody. So you might as well send the guy that's leading the league in faceoffs. And you look at the All-Stars, they keep them in the weight room there. So you see Yandel and Burke and Doan and Kachuk and Perreault. And everybody goes, who's Yannick Perreault? But his son, the kid can play. The kid can absolutely play. He's a high skilled guy that's going to provide offense. Now, luckily, he played on the best line in the history of the NDP program, and that has helped elevate his points to where they are today. He's a guy. There's been questions you read about and hear about from the guys that have been on our show, but his skating, and that's what's going to push him down lower in the draft, even though he has this high point. He's a guy that I think will be there at 12. I don't know if they grab him at 12. I think he's a guy, he's a late teen, maybe in a 20.
Yeah, it could be interesting. I did see a comment earlier. Someone said they would like to see the Coyotes take Perreault at 12. When Craig Button was on our show last week, he said that he still needs to develop physically, but that he is a well-rounded player. But when you think of Perreault, you think of, high offense. But again, on that top line, so is again a sub-6 foot guy. We talk about what Bill Armstrong's out there looking for, and he's a winger. So
and he's clearly the third of that top line of Will Smith and Ryan Leonard. He's the 3.
Yes.
Even though he had more points, he's still the number 3 when you're looking at those guys.
He's not number 6 overall in my opinion. But 12, I don't know.
He might be there at 12.
Never say.
Let's see.
The theme of this episode is never say never.
And it's a small draft too. You talk about sub 6 foot guys. It's a small draft.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's going to continue or
if Logan Cooley is your guy.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about his size and his stature. Do you need Gabe Perreault too, or do you want Ryan Leonard?
And even Ryan Leonard's sub 6 foot. So
yeah, he plays a little grittier.
Yeah, he does.
You're right.
He does.
You're right. So we'll see. The fun part is we don't know. We don't know.
132 points though in 63 games. Is
Not
that
bad.
good?
That's good.
Don't know if
Not
that
bad.
quite translates.
You beat Austin Matthews. Yeah, that's
to
good.
the NHL. Oh man. All right. Well, before we move on to our day 7 of 10 days of Tootsies, we have a super chat from Tim, and he said, "Craig, thoughts on Sarah Valley saying Arizona are buyers?"
Buyers?
That's what Tim said.
I mean, they're buyers, but let's not depends on how you define that. First of all, as I said earlier, it's not a good free agent class. They're not going to be looking to make a big splash in free agency, getting whoever the top names are. They're going to look for value, both in age and in contracts. Like Petey said, some of the guys, like you could look for a Nick Bugstad that you could flip again and get draft assets, but you could also be looking for the type of player that could grow with this team. And again, it's going to be value. They're not going to make...
Are they going for Alex DeBrincat? He's a name that comes up all the trademark.
No, Alex DeBrincat's not going to be a Coyote. It's not the right time for the Coyotes to do that, even if they wanted Alex DeBrincat. So no, it's not going to be that kind of splash. Again, value. Think value. Guys that can grow but allow their best players still to play in primary roles. That's what they're going to try and do.
So they're not running it Carter Hart or Connor Hellebuck to tend the goal.
No, but you remember, Clayton Keller's agent was on our show. They want some clarity and they want some progress as well. I think at the time that we are in the rebuild, it makes sense anyway to do what they're doing, but I don't discount the possibility that a little bit of pressure from those key core players is driving some of this as well. They want to see movement forward or they want out. They just don't want to keep spinning their wheels in a rebuild indefinitely.
Yep. All right. Well, there's that for now. We'll hopefully get more clarity I'm sure we'll get more clarity next week and see what happens, because we haven't even mentioned the possibilities that the Coyotes can trade current roster players also as part of the draft.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more about that, I'm sure.
I was talking about that with Jeff Merrick today. And again, Nick Schmaltz's name keeps coming up, but I still think that they like to keep them together, Keller and Schmaltz. I wonder about Karel Vejmelka. I really do.
Yeah, very interesting.
The goalie market.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
Yeah.
Veggie.
Wow.
Wow.
Anyway.